Hello friends, welcome. And in this video, we'll be discussing the concept of illness. So let us start with the meaning. Illness, English word that is derived from the word ill. Illness is adjective. Ill word has its roots in Old Norse, that is illa, I-double-L-R, which means evil, wicked, harmful. So there is some kind of harm, there is some kind of illness in the body, that is illness. So illness is a state of being diseased. Illness is the outcome of disease. And disease means dis-ease, not at ease. The individual who is suffering some kind of disease is not at ease. That ease may be psychologically or physically. Illness as any somatic anomaly that can manifest to bother or make sick the affected person. Means it's a general state of being experienced as sickness. Whether you are suffering some kind of injury, suffering some kind of disease or some kind of discomfort, you are generally not at ease or you are ill. So this is the historical background of the word illness. Illness occurs due to disturbance and internal harmony. Our body is made up of approximately 50 trillion cells, or you can call it the 500 crore cells. So these multicellular colony, that is your body, has natural internal harmony. All these cells work together simultaneously in a harmonious relationship. When there is a disturbance between these cells, that internal harmony or the harmony among these cells is disturbed, that state we experience as an illness. According to the Ayurveda, a disease begins when an individual is out of harmony with the environment. So when we are out of step with the environmental components, we experience a kind of problem, a kind of discomfort that may lead to development or progression of a disease, and comprehensively we suffer from chronic or some kind of illness. When we take in inappropriate impression from our environment through any of our five senses, we weaken the body and create an internal environment which support the creation of disease. There is a wrong impression is being attracted by us through our sense organs. That impression creates a weak internal environment that attracts the external aggressors. That can be bacteria, viruses, or any other pathogens. So that leads to the illness. So that is the viewpoint of the Ayurveda, the oldest healthcare system that has its roots in India. In this environment, that is internal environment, bacteria, viruses and other pathogens thrive. That is the internal disturbed environment, and muscles get tense and alter the function of vertebra, interfering with the nerve function. You know, the nervous system is the organizer of your health. If that system gets some kind of disturbance, either due to your internal environment or the external aggressors, your organizer get disturbed. In turn, your whole body faces some kind of problem or discomfort that leads to the progress of disease and subsequently illness. We could say that energy flow is disrupted in the body and illness occurs. What is energy flow? Ancient yogic system, it is assumed that there is a continuous flow of energy inside the human body, and that energy leads to your physiological, psychological and spiritual functions. If there is some kind of disturbance in that flow of energy, we face the illness and experience some kind of disease. John Wanamaker said People who cannot find time for recreation are obliged sooner or later to find time for illness. So, if you are not investing your time in appropriate recreation, certainly you are inviting illness. So, illness is composed of five structural components, which are identity, cause, timeline, consequences, and cure. Illness has a kind of a structure, and that structure is made up of these five components. Identity. You know the word identity? Identifying with someone, something, identification of exact disease. So when an individual identifies the some disruption in normal functioning or compromising the easiness of the body, if that is identified, that helps in guiding the individual who is suffering from some kind of discomfort for seeking the expert help. That can be your modern medication system or your Ayurvedic system or other alternative medication system. So identity means identifying the symptoms, then labeling them for exact cause and diagnosis. When there is a diagnosis of illness, the exact identification of illness helps in addressing at its root level. Hence, the symptoms and various labels that attaches with the illness are identified at first stage. So that is the important component of illness. The second one is the cause. Why that symptoms, that labels, that disease or that dysfunction has occurred. So exact cause has to be pinpointed. By whom? By the experts of the field. That can be from your modern allopathic medicine or the Ayurvedic system. Cause is also known as the etiology, and etiology, which means the reason or origination of something. Why something has originated and what are the causes of that origination. The third important component is the timeline of illness. What is the timeline? The timeline of illness refers to the time period from initial infection to gradual progression and to the level of physical manifestation. There are three stages in the timeline: initial infection, then progression, and finally it comes at a stage where the infection manifests physically. Suppose someone is suffering from some kind of illness or disease. If that individual is manifesting physical symptoms today, doesn't mean that the infection has occurred today itself, because it is physical manifestation, and physical manifestation is the outcome of gradual progression. When your body fails to fight with the external aggressors, pathogens, in that case your body start manifesting that symptoms physically, so that it guides the individual and individual can seek the expert advice. So this is a basic model that explains the timeline. First stage of susceptibility, then exposure. If individual is exposed to pathogens, then it leads to the stage of subclinical disease or pathologic changes. Then onset of symptoms. The symptoms can be internal as well as the external. Then usual time of diagnosis. This is the time where disease is diagnosed, because till the time there are no symptoms, it becomes little bit difficult for the health care providers to diagnose the exact cause. So the symptoms leads or motivates the individual to seek the help, and that symptoms helps the healthcare professionals to identify or to diagnose the exact cause. Then this leads to the stage of clinical disease, and finally after diagnosis, if the correct medication is provided, it leads to the recovery. If there is no correct medication, then the disease or the illness has to be managed. Or if there is no recovery, sometimes it may lead to the disability or the death. The fourth component, consequences. So what are the consequences means what are the outcomes of the illness? It refers to the modification of internal functional ability of an individual, where due to the attack of pathogens, the internal functional ability is modified. That is the consequences or the outcome of the illness. And the fifth one is the cure. So what is cure? Cure means a psychophysical state after the treatment of illness where the signs, symptoms or the signals of illness are extinct. No more symptoms are visible or which can be perceived. That is the cure. Cure is a kind of psychophysical state where individual regains the state prior to the occurring of the illness. So, dear friends, this was all about the illness, meaning, definition and its components. These are my references. If you want deeper insight, refer them. Otherwise, video is sufficient for you. Okay, the next lecture or discussion will be psychological factors in physical illness. So stay tuned to Dr. Rajesh Verma's YouTube channel and gain the deeper insight into the subject of psychology. Dear friends, if you have any queries, you can just drop a comment in my comment box. You can email me at vermasujit@yahoo.com. Yes, if you like the contents of this video, tell to others. If you have some issues, I am there to help out. Directly, without hesitation, you just let me know. Thanks for watching.